21-year-old Joshua Sostak's body washed up in the Hudson River. Is he the latest victim of the Smiley Face Killers? The murders, they say, are staged to look like drownings. Each has been ruled accidental. Case closed.
Well, neighbors I talked to tonight say they're terrified after hearing news of a possible serial killer on the loose here in the area.
Say this man randomly stabbed 4 people walking alone. It makes you rethink.
The Austin Travis County medics have found a body in Lady Bird Lake.
They walk among us, unseen, unnamed. In the shadows of our cities, terror lurks. Serial killers are still stalking the streets in 2024. From the Rainey Street Ripper, leaving a trail of terror in Austin, Texas, to the Little Rock serial stabber, striking fear into the hearts of Arkansas. These unseen monsters are the cause of death for hundreds of people across the nation. But they're not alone. The Chicago Strangler, the Gilgo Beach Killer, and the mysterious Smiley Face Killer all leave darkness in their wake. The only thing darker than their shadows are the killers themselves. The 80s and 90s saw a surge in serial killers in America, with the likes of Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer emerging in the States. In today's time, active serial killers aren't heard of that frequently. But what if I told you that some of them are actually still active in 2024? Here are the 5 most brutal serial killers who are still out there, terrorizing the masses with their mysteries. Number 5. The Rainey Street Ripper. In Austin, Texas, a mystery has unfolded around Lady Bird Lake. The first victim was 59-year-old Ricky Parks, a man who was pulled dead from the water on July 14, 2022. Since then, bodies have kept surfacing, one after another. The latest victim, a woman, was discovered on February 5, 2024, after a resident called 911. Her body was found 20 feet deep in the water. The police are hesitant to label it a serial killing spree, but here's the thing. They are also struggling with the body count that simply keeps rising, all while the police have no explanation to offer. While homicide detectives are on the case, they haven't confirmed foul play. With toxicology reports pending, most questions are unanswered at this point. But one theory prevails, that there's an unknown serial killer in Austin. And for the past year and a half, nobody has been able to catch him. Some people are pointing to a pattern, noting the disappearances of young men like Jason John, a 30-year-old who disappeared on February 5, 2023, only for his body to be pulled out of Lady Bird Lake a week later. A few weeks later, 33-year-old Jonathan Honey's body was also discovered in the same lake. Then, on March 5, 2023, the body of 40-year-old Clifton Axel was pulled out of the lake. And on April 15, 2023, 30-year-old John Christopher Hayes Clark was found dead in the same lake. When you look at the list of all the murders that have gone down in the last 1.5 years, you realize that all of the victims have been men between the ages of 20 and 40. However, with the most recent dead body belonging to a female, there's been a break in the trend. Without the evidence of foul play, the authorities have been left baffled by this mystery. But one thing's certain, Lady Bird Lake holds secrets, and until they're uncovered, the town's residents will continue to live in fear of the unknown. Number 4. Little Rock serial stabbings. In the town of Little Rock, Arkansas, 4 people were stabbed between 2020 and 2021, leaving behind nothing but questions. It all started in August 2020, when the town was shaken by the killing of Larry Eugene McChristian, a 64-year-old man who was initially reported missing. Later, he was discovered stabbed to death on a stranger's porch. Surveillance footage managed to capture parts of the attack, but the killer remained a mystery. With no leads, neighbors offered a hefty reward for information. When Larry was stabbed, it probably seemed like a lone killing. But shortly after, the narrative shifted. 62-year-old Jeff Welch was found dead with a neck wound on his porch. Initially deemed suspicious, an autopsy confirmed that it was a homicide. Months passed without incident until April 2021, when Deborah Walker faced a terrifying ordeal. Attacked on Pulaski Street, she miraculously survived 15 stab wounds, describing her assailant as a tall, slender, young black male. She provided vital information to the authorities. But that wasn't the end of it. Marlon Anthony Franklin was found stabbed to death nearby just a day later. With these events, police concluded that there was a single perpetrator behind all the attacks, all of which occurred between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. against lone pedestrians. Even though CCTV footage provided vital information about the killer, he has managed to evade the authorities to this day, and he is still roaming free, probably stalking his next victim. Number 3. The Chicago Strangler. From 1999 up to 2018, a wave of terrifyingly similar murders shook Chicago's south and west sides, leaving at least 50 women dead by strangulation. The killer, whom people have come to refer to as the Chicago Strangler, has not been found to this day and is still believed to be out there. But how did he kill? His victims, primarily black women, met their gruesome fates in a chillingly uniform manner. Dumped in alleys or abandoned buildings, they suffered brutal assaults, were beaten, or even set on fire. Angela Ford was the first victim in 1999, and she vanished after leaving to pick up her children's report cards. After that, Gwendolyn Williams, a beloved sister, met a similar fate in 2002. Teresa Bunn and Hazel Lewis both brutally murdered in 2007 within 48 hours of each other, representing a continuation of the same streak. The killings continued for 7 years until 2014, when they suddenly stopped, with no suspect in sight. Then, 3 years later in 2017, more bodies were discovered. While most believe that only one man is responsible for these crimes, here's the big mystery. Investigators have collected 21 DNA samples from the crime scenes, and every single time, the DNA has been different. On the other hand, another theory gives a real name to the Chicago Strangler: Darren Dion Van. This man strangled several women in Gary, Indiana, later dumping their bodies in abandoned buildings. He was eventually arrested in 2014 and admitted to the killings. However, no connection has been made between him and the 51 murders in Chicago. So, as of 2024, the Chicago Strangler is probably still out there, watching as the world tries and then fails to catch him. Number 2. The Gilgo Beach Killer. It all began in 2010 when authorities stumbled upon the very first human remains in this case. While searching for Shannon Gilbert, a 23-year-old from Jersey City who vanished in May 2010, police uncovered the body of 24-year-old Melissa Barthélemy wrapped in camouflage burlap. The discoveries didn't end there. Over the following days, the remains of Maureen Bernard Barnes, Amber Costello, and Megan Waterman were found scattered along Gilgo Beach. These women, all escorts who advertised on Craigslist, had vanished between 2007 and 2010. But the mystery deepened with each revelation. Barthélemy's family received eerie phone calls after her disappearance, with the caller confessing to her murder. These calls, though unsettling, became crucial in cracking the case. In 2011, the plot thickened as more remains surfaced. Jessica Taylor, an escort whose partial remains were previously discovered in Manorville in 2003, was identified among the victims. Additionally, the remains of a toddler, an unidentified Asian male, and another woman were found nearby. Fast forward to 2020, when Suffolk County Police released photos of a crucial clue, a black leather belt with the initials WH or HM. Then, in a breakthrough moment in this same year, Valerie Mack, missing for 2 decades, was identified as one of the victims through advanced DNA technology. In 2022, authorities formed a task force to crack the case wide open. Their pursuit led them to Rex Hoyerman, a suspect connected to some of the killings. Through meticulous surveillance and DNA analysis, investigators built a compelling case against Hoyerman, culminating in his arrest in 2023. But it's important to note that while Hoyerman has been deemed responsible for some of the killings, other similar killings remain unsolved. The suspect is yet to go through a trial, but in the depths of people's minds, they wonder if the real Gilgo Beach murderer is still free, roaming the streets of Long Island just like everyone else. Number 1. The Smiley Face Killer. In the 90s, a series of mysterious deaths began across 11 different states. In the decades that followed, at least 45 college-aged males have been killed in the exact same way. Each victim drowned after drinking heavily, leading to the speculation that something wasn't right with these deaths. But there was another similarity. Smiley face symbols were discovered near several of these drowning scenes. To explain this, the smiley face murder theory emerged, a hypothesis suggesting these drownings are not accidents, but the work of a serial killer or killers. Since 2008, criminal experts have speculated that these murders are the doing of a gang or domestic terrorists who target educated white males, often intoxicated after a night out. These predators snatch them, kill them, and then stage the scenes to resemble accidents, leaving behind only a sinister smiley face as their calling card. The similarities among the victims are too striking to ignore. Many of the victims had traces of date drugs in their system, suggesting they were rendered unconscious before they were killed. Plus, the victims shared common traits. They were young, white, athletic, and well-liked. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect is the condition of the bodies. Despite being missing for weeks, some corpses showed minimal decomposition, inconsistent with their time in the water. It meant that they had only been dead for a few days, suggesting that they weren't murdered immediately, but were first kidnapped and kept hostage for days. To this day, the Smiley Face Killer has not been caught, and even in 2024, all 45 of the killings have remained unsolved. And that's all we've got for the most notorious serial killers who are still at large in 2024. Did I miss any serial killers who are still out there, killing to this day? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Before you go, remember to slash that subscribe button like Wolverine's claws into a Deadpool meat suit. And before you go, stop on my channel and check out one of my other videos. We put a lot of time and energy into these, and you won't be disappointed. We have everything from Nikola Tesla's mysterious inventions and conspiracies, to the Ninja Turtles' origins and history in video games, to the OceanGate scandal, to the existence of aliens in space and nuclear isomers, and even the WWE. Come on, just stop by and check out a video. Thanks for watching.